Welcome to Step Forward. We discuss entrepreneurship, industry trends, and the occasional book review. Imagine a world where the voices you hear online, the personalities you interact with, might not be human at all. And what if the very images you see are malleable, changeable, and created on the fly? Today, we're diving deep into the accelerating power of GPUs and the implications for artificial intelligence. We'll explore how this surge in computational capacity is paving the way for AI systems that can convincingly mimic human personas and the potential challenges this presents. We'll also examine the rapid advancements in real-time photo editing, thanks to recent models from Google and OpenAI. We'll touch on some emerging entrepreneurial opportunities in this space. So, buckle up, let's step forward. All right, welcome back, everyone. It's fascinating, isn't it? That intro you just heard? Well, let's keep that little secret for now. But as you might have guessed, we're talking about the rapidly evolving world of AI, and specifically the hardware that's driving it. The key here is GPUs, graphics processing units. Once primarily used for rendering images in video games, they've become the workhorses of modern AI. The reason? Their parallel processing capabilities. Think of it like this. A CPU is a skilled chef working meticulously on one dish, while a GPU is a kitchen full of chefs working on many dishes simultaneously. This parallel processing is crucial for the complex calculations required by deep learning and neural networks. As we see advancements in semiconductor technology, those GPUs are getting more powerful and more efficient. The power available to AI systems is increasing exponentially. We are moving from AI that can recognize patterns to AI that can create personas. And related to that, we're seeing incredible leaps in real-time photo editing. Recent models from Google and OpenAI are enabling users to edit photos or completely alter the subject. Now let's delve deeper into the implications. How do we know who we're listening to is real? How do we know what we're consuming was created by a human or a human thought? The rise of AI personas and easily manipulated digital content threatens to erode the very foundation of authenticity online. If you can't trust what you're seeing or hearing, the value of that content diminishes. This has the potential to fundamentally change how we interact online. We've seen a recent shift towards more anonymous and private online spaces away from the real name era of social media. With AI-generated influencers and personas, this trend could reverse. We might see a future where identity verification becomes commonplace, even on platforms like Instagram and X. But it's not just social media. What about videos, podcasts, or any other form of online content? How do we ensure the authenticity of those experiences? This is a growing problem that's going to become more and more important. This crisis of authenticity brings with it both ethical challenges and entrepreneurial opportunities. How do we build systems that prioritize transparency and trust? How do we prevent the spread of misinformation and deepfakes? And how do we protect user privacy in a world where AI can mimic anyone? For entrepreneurs, this space is ripe for innovation. Think about developing tools for detecting AI-generated content, creating ethical guidelines for AI persona development and photo editing, or building platforms that prioritize verifiable identities. There's also the opportunity to create AI assistants that are open about their AI nature and help people or create new tools for content creation that help to identify AI-generated content. The key is to approach this technology with both excitement and caution. We need to foster a responsible and ethical approach to AI development, ensuring that it benefits humanity as a whole. And now, for the big reveal. You have been listening to my AI-generated voice. The words, everything. It was created using a corpus of my own audio and podcast recordings. This is just a glimpse of what's possible, a mere whisper of the profound shifts we're witnessing in artificial intelligence. It's a testament not only to the rapid advancements we're seeing in AI's technical capabilities, but also to the increasingly blurred lines between human and machine-generated content. As we've explored throughout this episode, the implications of this technology are far-reaching, touching upon the very core of how we perceive and interact with the digital world. The fact that you, as a listener, might have been unable to distinguish between my real voice and the AI-generated one underscores the urgency of the issues we've raised. We need to be acutely aware of the capabilities of this technology, not just as a fascinating novelty, but as a force that has the potential to reshape our society. The question before us is not whether we can stop this technological tide. Rather, it is how we can navigate it responsibly. We must think deeply about creating a system that allows humans to leverage the immense value this technology offers without eroding the foundational trust upon which our society is built. Trust in our media, trust in our institutions, and perhaps most importantly, trust in our interpersonal relationships. When the authenticity of information and communication becomes ambiguous, the very fabric of our social cohesion is threatened. Consider the ramifications. How do we ensure that AI-generated content is used for constructive purposes rather than for manipulation or deception? How do we build safeguards against the proliferation of deepfakes and misinformation? How do we preserve the integrity of our democratic processes in an era where AI can create convincing but fabricated realities?
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the episode. This is me, Dalton. I'm your host, and it's actually me this time. It's not some AI-generated voice or video. It's me, the actual host of this podcast episode. I hope that you thought the AI-generated me was thought-provoking, and I know that there would be some instances where the audio would mess up, but you got to think about it. In my recordings of my episodes, sometimes the audio messes up, or things happen, or I mispronounce words, or I scramble a little bit, and you can call those out and be like, "Oh, well, that's when I noticed it was AI," or "That's when I noticed there was something up." The audio got jumbled a couple times. Some of my tone was a little monotone. Think about it. When I'm talking in the podcast episode, my tone is monotoned, and sometimes I like to change my frequency, try to vary my tone and my pace of my voice differently throughout the episode, just so it adds a little bit of spontaneousness to, see, I just did it. I just messed up a word mid-episode. AI does it all the time. And I want to emphasize that this is an episode that I have been pondering and thinking about for a while, and I just never had the time to sit down, create these AI prompts, then run them through an AI voice generator to match my voice, and then from there add it into my episode and edit my audio and put that stuff in front. And then I always questioned what I was going to do with the video, because the video piece is what I deem is important. And one of the reasons why I do video podcasts is because one, they're more interactive. Two, it gives people the ability to verify that I am me and I've been doing this for a long time. And I guess a long time now, the grand scheme of things, podcasts. I think podcasts, people have short bursts of inspiration and they do a couple episodes and then they stop. But I think I'm getting close to 70 episodes. But regardless of that, I do the video podcasts because, once again, they're more interactive. And the second is the most important part, is I felt that the way that the technology was going, you would easily be able to create some AI podcasts, some AI persona, online persona, have a personality traits. You can have a personality, your different traits, hairstyle, skin tone, create a nice AI voice that does well with other podcasts listeners. So in this area, here are the top 5 people that are the best, and they could be male or female. You could do 2 hosts, you could do co-hosts. What podcasts perform well with certain demographics and interests, and then create and curate an AI persona and person and tone and visuals that would resonate with that audience. That would be wrong. And if that does happen, then how do you know it's just not people telling you what you want to know? Or how do you know that what they're talking about is any real relevancy? And so there's all those questions that are going to become increasingly more prominent as we go on in this world with this technology. And I'm not some kind of doomer, by the way. I'm not like, wow, AI is going to take over the world and we're going to be their slaves and all sorts of stuff like that. This AI piece, we're in a very early stage of the development of this technology. And the technology has been developing at a very rapid rate. And sooner or later, we'll get to a recursion where the AI is improving itself and the AI is optimizing itself. And once we get there, then AI should improve a lot faster. And then we've got to build infrastructure for AI to communicate with other AIs. And then there's got to be some kind of currency for them to trade jobs or hire humans or vice versa. Then you would need some kind of decentralized current electronic currency that would support these transactions. All that being said is that things are rapidly changing. I don't think I've ever seen a technology change this fast. Like from 1 year ago to 2 years ago to 3 years ago to 4, the difference is night and day. We always had trouble getting consistent character creation in your images. You always had trouble printing out any text. You can now stylize your text. You can create consistent characters. You can do all sorts of things without any effort. I mean, there's still some effort. Like, I'll show you some stuff that I did to prepare for this episode, and some of it took time. And I actually put a timer together, and it took me 42 minutes to generate some Gibby style images because it kept messing up. And it was, one, because I was being lazy with my prompts. 2, it just takes forever to generate. And it might take you like 8 minutes to generate an image. So I generated 3 images, and that's 32 minutes right there. So keep that in mind, that if you're going to do these things or generate these images, it does take time. But I don't want to get distracted by the core premise of the episode. The core premise of the episode is to be discussing OpenAI's image generator, native image generation upgrade. And I was going to make a anime Ghibli style podcast studio setup. And then I'm going to turn that podcast studio setup, the image, I'm going to turn it into hopefully a video if everything works out well. Turn it into a video using the image, lip sync it to my audio, and create a animated Ghibli style podcast episode using a screenshot, or not a screenshot because I took the photo, a photo from my room using my webcam, turning that into this generated episode where the first 10 or so minutes are AI generated. The video is AI generated. Everything is just AI generated except this segment of the episode. And I am having AI generate some of the parts of the audio and the script. AI generated all that script and the audio. And then I'm coming over with some human interaction at the end. But the video overlay is all going to be animated, or it is animated, but it's going to be all AI. And that's the plan, at least. Why am I doing that? Well, I want to emphasize the point. 2, I think it's interesting. 3, why not? I saw somebody else do it a couple weeks ago and it looked pretty cool. And so it's like, okay, this is a perfect example of be careful of what you watch and listen to on the internet. It's not only what you read anymore. You have to verify these people are legit. And there's quite a few AI generated videos on TikTok with AI generated voices, and they just say whatever. There's AI models that are created and trained to make AI social media videos and steal people's videos and then overlay text and stories over the top of them, like some kind of subway runner game or some Minecraft jumping things or whatever it may be, a racing thing. And then there's some kind of AI story over the top of it to get views and to get engagement to generate revenue. And there's this whole shops, and like that's all they do is they just make these AI slop videos that people watch. So that being said, let's talk about OpenAI's recent release of their ChatGPT 4.0 native generation update. And I want to start out with some examples, and then I'll start out with my example. Or so I'm going to start out with some examples, and then I will show you my example. That's what I meant to say. So let me share my screen. And I'm first going to start off with, hey, if you don't know what Studio Ghibli is, then that's fine. Not everybody does. But Studio Ghibli is a very famous studio, and they're known for only making just works of art. They don't make anything that isn't serious. They only work on building the best animated movies ever. And I think probably one of the most notable ones is Howl's Moving Castle. So let me see. Howl's Moving Castle. That came out in 2004, and I'll show you in a second. But let's do this. So let me share my screen. So share screen, tab, Ghibli Studio. Okay. So this is what Ghibli Studio looks like. They have a very unique art style, and it's just, I don't know, it's dreamlike, it's whimsical, it's light, it's fun. A lot of the movies that they create are like centered around kids and like teenagers, I would say. Like not kids, but teenagers. They make incredible stuff, and the stories are captivating and intriguing, and the world building is great. But if you zoom in, if I zoom in, you look at this image, like there's a allow it all the time. There is a very clear art direction in these images. And if you move over to Howl's Moving Castle, I'll share this screen, share this tab instead. You can see that it's a consistent art direction with the studio. Like it's very unique to Ghibli. And legendary movie. I think it's about this woman who is a young woman and gets cursed by a witch, and then this person who is living in the castle. I don't want to talk about it too much, but living in the castle helps cure the woman who was cursed, and they fall in love and all sorts of stuff. So that's Gibby Studio. That's kind of what Gibby looks like in the images. And then so now I have some Gibby stuff. So this is one thing that was pretty big on X a couple of weeks ago was making memes, traditional memes, into Gibby like memes or Gibby styled memes. And so this meme is the child outside of her house that's burning down, and it's normally like a text like, oh, this is fine or whatever, and it's a house is burning down, the firefighters are putting out the fire, there's onlookers, and then there is this child who is smirking kind of, oh, it's fine. Share this tab. Maybe I didn't share the tab, but you see the image, you see the styling, it's very Gibby. And this is a weird one. So video. Also, the video is, let me restart it. Sorry. Start sharing this tab instead. The video is also odd, by the way, and the sounds are odd, like disturbing. Okay. As I said, the video is unpleasant and unsettling. I don't like that video, but it's fine because it was a good example. For this tab instead. These are some easygoing, lighthearted videos. The person made a pig temple where there's all these pigs in a pool, giant pigs, maybe like pig gods. I don't know what's going on. And then here's this cat shrine, a big cat in a massive tub. Very Gibby-like art direction. There's another big cat. But yeah. And then the last one was, it turned Resident Evil characters into Gibby art, like Gibby-like characters, which I think was interesting. Share this tab. Okay, so that's what was created, and then I'll show you what I made. So here are my two images. I'll do the first one that was bad. So I did this 3 times. Share this tab instead. Okay, so I originally asked for a room to feature, high quality headphones, turn it into like this cozy atmosphere, and give it like Gibby like vibes. And it gave me this, which I didn't like because it's not like my room. And then I was like, okay, I need to be more direct. So I was like, okay, like let's make a Gibby studio style image. And then it gave me this, which is fine, but I think it lacked the character of my room and where I'm at. Like it didn't feel like my room. It felt like I'd been transported somewhere else. And I didn't want that vibe for the viewers. I wanted an image that was similar to how my room was. So I got this one. This one's actually decent, right? The only thing is the mic. I forgot when I took the original image. Oh, sorry. This one's decent. The only thing was when I took the original image, I didn't have the mic out like I was going to start talking because I wasn't ready to record the episode. I just wanted to see and trial how this would go because I hadn't done it before. And this turned out great. It's just the only thing is the mic. The mic isn't what I want the mic to be. I want the mic to be like my mic. But this might work. I think the room and everything going on is perfect. Like the stuff in the back looks great. Everything looks great except the mic. And the way that the light is kind of trickling in, it's really nice. So let me share this one. Share it instead. So this one is really good, I think. The only problem is it's not horizontal, like for a video. So I'm wondering if I could ask AI to change the image from portrait to landscape. Same thing, just landscape. And I hope that would not result in some weird generated stuff, but I would love for this image to be horizontal for my videos. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so that was OpenAI and the generation of stop sharing. That was OpenAI and the image generation piece of what you can do natively now. I feel that since now you can natively generate images, you'll easily be able to create videos using consistent characters because you could create a couple images and then say like, hey, turn this into a video in the future. And, as I'd mentioned before, it calls into question the authenticity of the story of which you're trying to listen to. And having a system in place, either your own system or a system in place for these social media apps to verify that, hey, you're a real person, will be increasingly more important. And the AI generated audio that I talked in the beginning of the episode spoke about how the pendulum might have to switch from what is now the anonymous social media, where people previously, like when I was growing up, I'm still growing, hopefully, right? I'm not done growing. But when I was a kid, everyone wanted the social media to be their first and last name or their last name, first name, something like that. And after that point, there was a certain shift at one point where people didn't want to be monitored. People didn't want to know what other people were doing. And so they started making Finstas. And Finstas were where you'd post your real stuff. Like you'd have your professional and then you'd have your Finsta. I always thought it was too much work to have two different social medias, but whatever. So you'd have your Finsta where you'd publish your not so good photos, you out drinking with your friends or you doing whatever, raunchy photos, yada, yada. After that point, there was a shift with the next generation where they're Finsta only, like where their Instagram is anonymous by default, where it's not their name, it's just like some random like Skyfaller green hat baller as their user. I was actually pretty good on the fly, by the way. They have this anonymous username and they just publish whatever memes, yacht. They don't have to worry about what they're commenting or anything like that. And also with TikTok, it makes it a little bit odd, or it makes it where people are monitoring in a higher frequency the things you're commenting, because if you comment on a post, it gets suggested to somebody else. So if you're commenting on like a social issue or any weird things that you see on social media, whatever you're doing in your darkest days and on your phone, I don't know. But whatever comments you make, they're typically upranked to your friends And if your friends are your friends and family and your coworkers or something like that, and you're commenting on weird stuff, it doesn't look good. And so I'm not saying that's by default what people are doing. What I'm saying is there's an increased visibility on your activity on social media simply because the algorithm integrates everything that you do with other folks. And so this connectivity to everyone makes it so people are cautious of like what they're saying and what they're doing. And if that's the case, then it's easier, instead of just making sure that you don't make any mistakes, just to make yourself anonymous. But now we're in the realm of AI, and AI is becoming more and more advanced. And that means that if everyone's anonymous, then you can't tell who's wearing the mask of the human and who is the human. And so I think the pendulum swings backwards to verification of your identity, and X has done that in some fashion. Like if you wanted to do premium and be able to do these things and run ads and make certain posts and have increased visibility, you need to send in your ID, and they'll take a photo of it and verify it with some kind of third party. I'm not sure how the whole process works, but they verify your identity. Facebook has something like that as like a beta for their premium program, if you want the blue check or not. But I don't know how it would work. Maybe you have two feeds. Like one is your verified feed with only verified people. And when I say verified, it doesn't mean that you have to pay premium or something like that. It's more as maybe you pay a $2 fee to verify your identity. And then once you're verified, then you then are on this verified feed. So the algorithm would only suggest you verified posts and things. I think that's an easier problem to figure out. I think the biggest problem is, how do you know what you're reading and what let me backtrack. What you're reading, you always questioned before. You'd always get the question, okay, did you verify that with those 3 sources or a couple other sources? Like, how do you know what you're saying is true? There's that piece. And increasingly in the world, people have just been blatantly lying. They're just straight up lying. And like, it's easily verifiable, and they'll go on video and they'll just lie, or they'll publish something on social media that's just straight up lie and false. And so I think that there has been a weird acceptance of people who just been lying. And there's a difference from misspeaking or maybe wrongly contributing or explaining your point, but not in a malicious way. And then there's then the difference is, like, if you're maliciously stating falsehoods to sway people's opinions or their outlook on things, that's a problem. And it's been increasingly prevalent on social media where people just straight up lie, and they'll be famous, or they'll be political people, or whatever the issue is, or who the person is, or the public figure. They'll just say whatever, and then people are just cool with it. No one really is like, oh, it's whatever. And so that's what you read on the internet. But what if that transfers to video and audio? And so then you're questioning everything that you watch, everything you hear. And then how do you know, like, how would you then know, like, what is real and what is not? Is there, like, I would question everything. And I published something. Where's my phone? I put something on X today, and I said, let's see what I said. The exact words. I said something like, why this loads. The statement, "You can't trust the internet," is becoming even more true today. You can't trust things you hear or see to be real. Maybe we were all schizophrenic from the start. Because you don't know what is going on. You have no idea what is going on. When things are going to escalate in a couple of years, where AI gets more advanced, how would you know what is real and what is not? And maybe we were just hallucinating all from the start. I don't know. But to get out of the doomer phase, the promising piece is for videos and for audio and images, since those are created by, all right, audio is pretty easy because an audio file has like these frequency waves within the file. So you could encode a synthetic key, an AI synthetic ID to the audio. So you could easily verify whether or not that key was either disrupted or if that key was altered or if it has a key. With images, you can do the same thing. You can, because a pixel is just numbers. So you can encode your own little synthetic key. And Google's been doing this for a while for the AI images that they create. They have a digital synthetic key with embedded within the photo. So wherever you put the photo, Google's able to verify that it's an AI generated photo. Where it gets a little wonky is text. And I talked to a friend named Fabrice, and he had completed some research on this. But overall, it's a very complicated problem because text is not an image. It's not built by these numbers. And I mean, an individual character has numbers associated with it. But if you made any edits to the text, or you proofreaded it and you had some grammar, or you made any changes, then the key doesn't work. So the next step is figuring out, okay, so now that we're able to detect images and videos and audio, and these things need to get built. Audio and video, I'm not sure that there is a key in the works yet, but I do know for images there is kind of an industry standard of, okay, this is how we're going to do it. Meta has adopted something similar, so has OpenAI. So that's squared away. But the text piece, I don't know if there's an easy solution for that. But people are already careful what they read online. All that's being said is this episode was really to talk about this potential authenticity crisis that is coming amongst us sooner than later. And this is an episode I've been thinking about doing for a while, and I thought it'd be cool and interesting to create this. And the fact that now you can generate an image and do so natively, and then turn that image into a video, and then lip sync your video that you're displaying, like from this podcast episode, to the image, and it creates a video from the image that you gave it, is pretty cool. That you could take one image, a video, overlay both of them together, create this AI generated audio and video. Pretty cool stuff, I would say. I will encourage you to be cautious on what you're viewing online. If you're picking up a new podcast, make sure that they have a video, or make sure that they've been doing it a while. And if they don't have a video and they haven't been doing it a while, try to verify or look up the person and verify that person's real. I'm just like being cautious about the stuff that you're listening to and watching. There's a lot of AI videos on YouTube now. When I go on Facebook, there's so much interaction towards AI videos and AI images that people presumably have no idea is AI. And so I don't want you guys to be that. And I don't think you are, but it's not the things that are blatantly AI. It's the things that you can't tell are AI that is the worst. So things are becoming more advanced, and there is increasingly there's opportunities that are being discussed on doing like unethical things for these type of they're using these type of technologies to do unethical things. Like, for example, someone had sent me a video about using women on social media, like say TikTok, using their face and then finding a woman who has a good physique, combining the two together and make an AI model that you would create videos with and stitch on the person's face and their body into a video, and then use that to create a OnlyFans sales funnel where you use social media to create this AI model that's using their real face, then using the funnel to get people to subscribe to their OnlyFans, which is all AI generated. And like that stuff is horrible. Like they use somebody's real face and just like a complete disregard of other people. It's horrific. And I don't know how all this stuff's going to play out. We're always going to be in this whack-a-mole situation. But I get concerned when people are talking about, yeah, I'm making so much money doing this. Like, you just got to do it. And I'm like looking around and people are nodding their head. Like, I wasn't, I'm not there. I just watched the video just because somebody sent it to me. It's like, oh, wow, this could be a topic for your podcast. And I didn't want to talk about it for a while because it's like, it just, like, why even put that energy out in the world? But then when it's easy to do these things or becoming increasingly easier to do so, then I was like, okay, like this is probably going to have to be discussed. And so when people are bragging about how much money they're making online by doing these unethical things that are just blatantly wrong, it's going to be tough. Like we're going to be in this whack-a-mole situation, as I mentioned, for a while. You're always going to have the technology going to be outpacing the detection. But I haven't seen anything from TikTok or from Meta or even YouTube about trying to create a system to make sure that people's personas or like their identity isn't being used in nefarious ways, either by someone who's trying to make a buck or someone who's trying to discredit you. And so I hope that doesn't happen. My mom and I have a secret password, and my Nana secret password, that we never sent via text. We didn't discuss in a room with electronics. And so this password will be used to verify whether or not you're really in trouble if someone calls, or if something happened while I was traveling and I was like, hey, I really need help. Like send me 5,000 right now. Like you'd be asked to verify. And for myself, I was telling them like, hey, like someone could easily create my voice. I have all these videos of myself on the internet. It wouldn't be that hard. I don't think we're a target right now, but it couldn't hurt to put this in place. And it was really originally my mom's idea, but I had validated that idea with these AI generated voices that I created like 10 months ago and some other stuff. And then also this episode. So that's probably my takeaway for you, is be cautious about what you're listening to and watching on the internet, and then create a secret password with your family and don't send it via text. And if they don't know the password, then they will have to figure it out on their own, or they'll have to meet you in person. Once again, I really appreciate everything that you guys are doing and supporting me and watching these episodes or listening to them. I really do appreciate it. I'm always surprised that people listen to these episodes, and I'm just thankful that you guys are still around and consistently checking in every couple of weeks or every week. But of course, wherever you are in this world, have a great day, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for listening, and I can't wait for you to listen in next week. Goodbye.